Jasmine had always believed in trusting people. Growing up, her mother told her, "Kindness is rare, but it's always worth giving." So when she moved to the city for her dream job, she carried that belief with her, sometimes to her own peril. The city was bustling, bright, and unforgiving, but Jasmine felt alive. Every corner seemed to promise something new, yet there was always that nagging feeling that not everyone had good intentions. One rainy evening, after a long day at work, Jasmine hurried down the crowded streets, clutching her bag and trying to shield herself from the downpour. She wasn't paying attention when she collided with a stranger. Papers flew, water splashed, and for a second, the world seemed to stop. "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" the man asked, his voice calm but urgent. Jasmine looked up, startled. Standing in front of her was a man with a strong presence, tall, broad-shouldered, with deep brown eyes that seemed to see right through her. He offered her a hand to help pick up her scattered documents, and she noticed the way he moved, confident but careful, as if he'd handled situations like this before. "I'm fine, just a little wet," Jasmine said, trying to compose herself. The man smiled, a small, disarming smile that made her chest tighten. "Here, take my umbrella," he said, opening it just enough for her to step under it. Their eyes met, and Jasmine felt a strange connection, like they had met somewhere before, even though she knew they hadn't. "Thanks, I'm Jasmine," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Marcus," he replied. There was a pause, a moment where the world seemed to fade around them. "I know this might sound sudden, but I feel like our meeting wasn't by chance." Jasmine blinked, unsure whether to laugh or feel uneasy. How could a stranger say something like that? But there was something in his tone, serious, sincere, that made her pause. For the rest of the walk, they talked. At first, it was small talk. Jobs, the rain, the city, but soon Marcus shared stories that made her laugh and think in ways she hadn't for a long time. There was mystery in his words, a hint of danger and adventure, but also warmth. By the time they reached her apartment, Jasmine's heart was racing, not just from the run in the rain, but from the feeling that her life had just shifted in a way she didn't fully understand. As she turned to enter her building, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Marcus. "I can't explain why, but I think this is the start of something important. Will you meet me again?" Jasmine stared at the message, a mix of excitement and hesitation filling her chest. Little did she know, this single encounter in the rain would be the first step into a story she could never have imagined, one full of secrets, danger, and a connection that would challenge everything she thought she knew about trust. Don't miss what happens next. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel to follow Jasmine's journey. Jasmine didn't respond to Marcus's message right away. She read it over and over, her thumb hovering above the screen. Something about him felt safe, yet dangerous at the same time. Her instincts warned her to be careful, but curiosity whispered louder. Finally, she typed back, "Okay, one dinner." Marcus replied almost instantly, sending the address to a rooftop restaurant downtown. When Jasmine arrived the next evening, the city lights stretched endlessly beneath her, glowing like 1,000 secrets waiting to be uncovered. She spotted Marcus standing near the railing, dressed simply but confidently. When he turned and smiled, her nerves softened, just a little. "I'm glad you came," he said. Dinner started easy. They laughed, shared stories about childhood dreams and missed chances. Marcus listened closely, never interrupting, like every word she spoke mattered. But Jasmine noticed something else, too. Every few minutes, his eyes scanned the room, as if he were expecting someone. "Do you always look this tense?" Jasmine asked, lightly. Marcus hesitated. "Only when I care about who I'm with." The answer sounded sweet, but something in his voice felt heavier than that. Halfway through the meal, his phone vibrated on the table. The screen lit up with a single message. Marcus glanced at it, and all the color drained from his face. "What is it?" Jasmine asked. He quickly locked the phone and forced a smile. Just work. But Jasmine knew that wasn't true. The mood shifted. The laughter faded. Finally, Marcus leaned forward, lowering his voice. "There's something you should know about me." Jasmine's stomach tightened. "I'm involved in things most people never see. I deal with powerful people, dangerous ones, and once you cross their path, they don't forget you." Jasmine pushed her chair back slightly. "Marcus, that's not funny." "I'm not joking," he said quietly. "Meeting you wasn't planned, and that's what scares me." Before Jasmine could respond, his phone buzzed again. This time, he didn't hide it. The message read, "They know who she is. Leave, now." Jasmine felt the air leave her lungs. "Who is she?" she demanded. Marcus stood abruptly, gripping the table. "We need to go, right now." As they rushed toward the elevator, Jasmine's heart pounded. "Marcus, you're not making any sense." The elevator doors closed, and for a moment, the silence was unbearable. Marcus finally looked at her, his expression filled with regret. "I never meant to pull you into this, but you're not safe anymore." When they reached the street, a black SUV slowly rolled past them, its tinted windows hiding whoever was inside. Jasmine froze. Marcus stepped in front of her protectively. That was the moment Jasmine realized her life had split into two parts, before Marcus and whatever terrifying future waited next. If you want to know who's watching them and why Jasmine is in danger, like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next. Jasmine barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, the image of the black SUV rolled back into her mind. The slow crawl of its tires, the way Marcus had instinctively stepped in front of her. She had never felt fear like that before. It wasn't loud or dramatic, it was quiet, suffocating, and persistent. Her phone buzzed at 2:17 a.m. She froze. With trembling hands, she unlocked the screen. A photo filled the display. It was her apartment door, taken from the hallway. The timestamp showed it had been taken less than 5 minutes earlier. Her breath caught in her throat. Before she could think, another message arrived. "Don't open the door." Jasmine dialed Marcus immediately. He answered on the first ring. "Jasmine, listen to me very carefully," he said, his voice low and urgent. "Turn off the lights, lock yourself in the bathroom. Do not make a sound." Her legs shook as she followed his instructions. From behind the bathroom door, she heard something that made her blood run cold. A faint click at her front door, like someone testing the lock. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Jasmine pressed her hand over her mouth to stop herself from crying out. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure whoever was outside could hear it. Then, silence. A knock echoed through the apartment. "Jasmine," a voice called softly. "Open up." She recognized it. Marcus's voice. Her hand hovered over the door handle, confusion flooding her thoughts. "Marcus?" she whispered. "Open the door," the voice repeated, a little too calm, a little too perfect. Marcus's voice suddenly blasted through her phone. "That's not me. Do not open the door." Jasmine backed away just as something heavy slammed against the door. Once, twice, then footsteps retreated down the hallway. 20 minutes later, Marcus arrived for real. The moment Jasmine opened the door and saw his face, she collapsed into his arms, shaking uncontrollably. Marcus held her tightly, his jaw clenched with rage and guilt. "They found you faster than I thought," Marcus muttered. "Who are they?" Jasmine demanded, pulling back. "And why are they pretending to be you?" Marcus looked around the apartment, checking windows, corners, shadows. "Because fear makes people obedient, and they want you scared." He finally sat across from her, exhaustion etched into his face. "Years ago, I helped expose people who made their money ruining lives. They don't forgive, and they don't forget."
Jasmine's voice broke. Then why am I involved? Marcus met her eyes. Because you saw me, and now they think you might see them too. Just then, Jasmine noticed something that made her stomach drop. Her laptop, which she always kept closed, was open. The cursor blinked on the screen. A single sentence had been typed. You should have stayed curious and silent. Marcus slowly stood, fury burning in his eyes. We can't stay here anymore. They're closer than I feared. As sirens wailed in the distance, Jasmine realized one terrifying truth. This wasn't just about Marcus anymore. It was about her survival. Things are getting dangerous fast. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next, where the truth finally begins to surface.
Jasmine packed in silence, her hands moving faster than her thoughts. Every creak of the apartment made her flinch. Marcus stood by the door, alert, like a soldier waiting for an ambush. The man who had laughed with her over dinner now looked like someone carrying years of buried war inside him. Where are we going? Jasmine finally asked. Somewhere they won't expect, Marcus replied. Somewhere off the grid. They drove through the sleeping city, streetlights flashing across Marcus's face like passing memories. Jasmine watched him carefully. There was a distance in his eyes, a weight she hadn't noticed before. You owe me the truth, she said quietly. All of it. Marcus exhaled slowly. You're right. He pulled into an abandoned parking structure and shut off the engine. The silence pressed in on them. I used to work deep undercover, he began. My job was to gain trust, collect evidence, and disappear before anyone realized what I'd done. The people I investigated weren't just criminals. They controlled judges, police, corporations. They erased people. Jasmine's chest tightened. And you thought you could just walk away? I tried, Marcus said, his voice cracking. But when you take down powerful men, they don't let go. They watch. They wait. He looked at her then, really looked at her. Meeting you wasn't supposed to happen. You're not part of my world. But now I am, Jasmine replied bitterly. Marcus nodded. And that's my fault. They stayed there for hours, until dawn painted the sky gray. When they finally reached a small safe house on the edge of the city, Jasmine thought maybe, just maybe, they could breathe again. She was wrong. While Marcus checked the perimeter, Jasmine explored the small house. In the bedroom, she found a duffel bag tucked under the bed. Inside were passports, burner phones, and a folded photograph. It was a picture of her. Not from that night, not from the restaurant, from weeks ago. Her knees weakened. When Marcus returned, she held the photo up with shaking hands. Explain this. Marcus froze. I was assigned to observe you, he admitted. At first, Jasmine felt like the floor had vanished beneath her. So this was all fake? The umbrella? The dinner? Me trusting you? No, Marcus said quickly. It changed. You changed it. Tears streamed down Jasmine's face. You watched me. You lied to me. I was trying to protect you, he said. Once I realized they were already looking at you, I stayed close. Jasmine backed away. I don't know who you are anymore. Before Marcus could respond, the power went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Then a phone buzzed on the table, one Marcus didn't recognize. A message appeared on the screen. Trust is dangerous. Step outside alone, Jasmine. Marcus grabbed her arm. Don't listen to them. But Jasmine stared at the message, her heart breaking, because whoever was watching knew her name. The danger just got personal. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next where betrayal changes everything. Jasmine didn't sleep that night. The message replayed in her mind again and again. Step outside alone, Jasmine. Whoever was watching didn't just know her name, they knew her fear, and worse, they knew how to separate her from Marcus. At dawn, she sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Marcus stood near the window, watching the road, silent. The distance between them felt wider than ever. You used me, Jasmine finally said. Marcus turned. I protected you. You lied to me, she snapped, from the beginning.
He didn't deny it. That hurt more than any excuse could have. I was assigned to monitor you because you work close to one of their financial channels, Marcus admitted. They thought you might uncover something without even realizing it. Jasmine laughed bitterly. So I was just another file to you? No, he said firmly, not after I got to know you. She stood up, anger shaking her voice. You decided what I deserved to know. You decided my life for me. Before Marcus could respond, headlights flashed outside the safe house. A familiar black SUV rolled slowly onto the dirt road and stopped. Marcus reached for his weapon. They found us. But Jasmine noticed something else. Marcus's phone vibrated. He glanced at it and hesitated. Hesitated? She whispered. Why are you hesitating? He didn't answer. The phone vibrated again. Jasmine snatched it from his hand. On the screen was a message that shattered what little trust she had left. Deliver her, walk away alive. Her hands trembled as she read it aloud. Marcus's face went pale. Jasmine, listen. So this is it? She interrupted. This is the part where you choose yourself? They're bluffing, he said desperately. I would never. The back door slammed open. Smoke flooded the room. Chaos exploded. Someone shouted outside. Glass shattered. Marcus grabbed Jasmine and dragged her toward the hallway. Go, he yelled. Out the back window. She hesitated for half a second, just long enough to see Marcus turn toward the front door, raising his hands. I'm coming out. She's inside. Jasmine's chest tightened. Her ears rang. Was this another trick? Another lie? She climbed out the window and ran into the trees, tears blinding her vision. Behind her, she heard engines start, and then silence. Hours later, Jasmine collapsed near an abandoned road. Her phone buzzed. A new message appeared from an unknown number. He chose himself. Now you choose what happens next. Jasmine stared at the screen, her heart broken, her trust destroyed. One thing was certain. If Marcus had betrayed her, she would survive without him. Was Marcus protecting her or selling her out? Like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next, where the truth turns everything upside down.
Jasmine walked until her legs gave out. The road stretched endlessly ahead, empty and unforgiving. Every sound made her flinch. Every passing shadow felt like someone watching. Marcus's face haunted her mind. Not the man from the safe house, but the one under the rain, holding an umbrella, smiling like the world was simple. He chose himself. That thought burned deeper than fear. A rusted pickup slowed beside her. Jasmine's instincts screamed danger, but exhaustion won. The driver, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, rolled down the window. "You okay, honey?" she asked. Jasmine hesitated, then shook her head. "I just need a ride out of town." The woman nodded, no questions asked. An hour later, Jasmine sat in a small roadside diner, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she hadn't tasted. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "You're harder to catch than expected." Jasmine's heart raced. She typed back before she could stop herself. "Where is Marcus?" The reply came instantly. "Alive, for now." Her stomach twisted. The message continued. "He didn't deliver you. He burned every bridge instead." Tears filled Jasmine's eyes. If Marcus hadn't betrayed her, then why had he raised his hands? Why had he told them she was inside? Another message arrived. "He bought you time." The diner door swung open suddenly. Jasmine jumped, but it was Marcus. Bruised, bleeding, breathless. He locked eyes with her, relief flooding his face. "I knew you'd stop somewhere public." She stood slowly, fury replacing fear. "You let them think you sold me out." "So you could disappear," he said. "They won't chase you if they think you're already dead." "You broke my trust," Jasmine snapped. "I saved your life." Before she could respond, Marcus grabbed her arm. "We don't have much time. They realized the truth faster than I hoped."
They fled again, this time together. As they drove, Marcus finally told her everything. The network wasn't just after evidence anymore. They wanted silence, and Jasmine had unknowingly accessed financial data that could destroy them. "They won't stop," Marcus said, "unless we end this." They reached an old airstrip just before sunset. A small plane waited, engine idling. Jasmine stared at it. "If I get on that plane, there's no going back." Marcus nodded. "Only forward." As she stepped toward the aircraft, headlights flared behind them. Multiple vehicles, fast. Marcus pushed a flash drive into her hand. "If something happens to me, this goes public." Jasmine swallowed hard. "We both survive. That's the deal." The first gunshot cracked the air. They ran. Everything is on the line now. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next, where the final confrontation begins. The night air exploded with chaos. Headlights sliced through the darkness as engines roared toward the airstrip. Jasmine's heart hammered in her chest as Marcus pulled her behind a stack of rusted fuel drums. The small plane's engine whined impatiently, its spinning propeller throwing dust into the air like a storm warning. "They're here faster than I expected," Marcus muttered. Jasmine clenched the flash drive in her fist. "Then we stop running." Marcus looked at her sharply. "What?" "I'm done being afraid," she said, her voice shaking but steady. "They only have power because everyone keeps hiding." Before Marcus could argue, a voice echoed across the runway. "Marcus, you always did think you were smarter than us." A tall man stepped forward from the vehicles, calm and confident, dressed like someone who had never faced consequences. His eyes settled on Jasmine with interest. "So this is her," he said, "the one who almost ruined everything." Jasmine stepped out from cover. Marcus grabbed her arm, but she pulled free. "You're not untouchable," she said, "and tonight the world finds out." The man laughed softly. "You really believe that?" Marcus raised his weapon, but didn't fire. Instead, he spoke loudly, clearly. "Every account, every bribe, every name, it's already uploaded." That was a lie, but the hesitation it caused was real. In that moment of doubt, Jasmine ran for the plane. Gunfire erupted behind her. Marcus returned fire, forcing their enemies back long enough for her to climb inside the cockpit. "Start it!" Marcus shouted. The engine roared to life just as Marcus was struck. He fell hard onto the tarmac. "Marcus!" Jasmine screamed, jumping down. She dragged him toward the plane as sirens wailed in the distance. Real sirens this time. Someone had tipped off the authorities. The man shouted in fury as red and blue lights flooded the airstrip. His empire was collapsing. Jasmine pulled Marcus inside the plane as police swarmed the scene. The door slammed shut. The plane lifted off, shaking violently. Marcus lay bleeding, barely conscious. "You should have left," he whispered. Jasmine gripped his hand, tears streaming. "I don't run anymore." Below them, the city glowed, dangerous, beautiful, and finally exposed. As the plane disappeared into the night, Jasmine knew one truth with absolute clarity. They had survived. But survival always demands a price, and the final chapter had yet to be written. The story isn't over yet. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the powerful final where everything comes full circle. The plane landed just before sunrise on a quiet stretch of runway far from the city. Emergency lights flashed as medics rushed forward, pulling Marcus from the cockpit on a stretcher. Jasmine followed closely, her clothes stained with blood and dust, her heart pounding with fear she refused to surrender to. "Stay with me," she whispered, gripping his hand until the last possible second. Hours passed in a sterile waiting room that smelled of disinfectant and exhaustion. Jasmine stared at the flash drive resting in her palm.
This small piece of plastic carried enough truth to destroy powerful men and enough danger to change her life forever. A detective approached her quietly. "The evidence you brought in is solid," he said. "Accounts are frozen. Arrests are already happening." Jasmine closed her eyes, finally allowing herself to breathe. When Marcus woke up later that day, weak but alive, Jasmine was sitting beside him. "You didn't leave," he murmured. She smiled softly. "I told you, I don't run anymore." News broke within days. Headlines exposed corruption, hidden deals, and years of silence bought with fear. The men who once believed themselves untouchable were now standing in courtrooms stripped of power and control. Jasmine's name appeared nowhere. That was her choice. Weeks later, Jasmine stood on a quiet beach at sunset. The wind carried the sound of waves and distant laughter. Marcus joined her, walking slower now, but stronger with every step. "I never meant to change your life like this," he said. "You didn't," Jasmine replied. "I did." She had turned fear into courage, betrayal into strength. The woman who once trusted too easily now trusted herself most of all. They didn't talk about the past much anymore. Some scars didn't need words. What mattered was the future, one built on truth, not secrets. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Marcus reached for her hand. Jasmine didn't hesitate. Some stories don't end with perfect happiness. They end with freedom. And sometimes that's even better. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more powerful, emotional, and unforgettable stories. Your support helps keep these stories alive.